The war is over, and the light has won. The past handful of weeks, it's become very clear to me that I could oftentimes sound a bit pie in the sky, woo woo, and I've made a concerted effort to make sure the content I put out is more grounded and understandable for most of the people in my life. This video will not be grounded. This video will not be me trying to speak words that most people on this earth can understand. This video is me sharing that I've received an immense amount of downloads and have been led to other people with the similar gifts that I have of being in touch with what's going on with the universe around them. And today, a lot of the accumulation of knowledge, whether through myself directly or by watching others and their own divine message, divine downloads, I was finally able to feel the gravity of what's going on planet Earth at this time. There has been an age-old war going on planet Earth that we often refer to as the war between the light and the darkness. There are many, many reasons why this war existed. And one day soon, I'm going to have a series of videos where I deeply explain the darkness, how it works, how it has controlled a lot of modern human behavior, and what its purpose was. But that's not the point of the video today. The point of this video is me declaring my recent experiences that led to me deeply embody a certain message that is not only meant for me to take on, but it's meant to be seen and heard by others at this point. That message is that the war between the light and the darkness is over. For the past 25,000 years, there has been a mixture of light and dark entities that have been at odds with each other, most of which is a war we cannot see with our own eyes. But it is a war that has deeply affected all of us. These entities have been able to utilize certain people as vessels, as instruments, as tools for the agenda and narrative they had. And this war, the light and the darkness expressing themselves, has led to the experiment of planet Earth, of Mother Gaia, where this is one of the only places the entirety of the universe where oneness, the law of oneness, is not abided by, where we were given the gift of experiencing separation, where certain entities felt the yearning to explore what life would be like if they were to detach themselves from source, cut themselves off from the light, and in doing so had to rather than attract light onto itself through the creator, through God, through the sun, whatever the source, whatever it is for you in your mind, whatever word you use, instead of receiving energy from that, it would take from fellow humans, animals, planet Earth itself, the many, many abundant resources that it offers. And it was the cause of all destruction. It was the cause of all separation. It was the cause of all hatred and all violence. Again, this war, something that if we all really took a second to reflect, we can agree that was happening. Served on levels that were far higher than what our monkey minds could ever fully comprehend. And because of that, because of this experiment, deviation from oneness, that planet Earth or the certain entities on planet Earth chose to do, this human experience was seen as an experiment for the rest of the universe to watch over. And once the deviation continued, the separateness continued, the sparks in war, the sparks in violence, utilizing the anatomy of planet Earth as a tool for destruction. We received a lot of attention from higher density beings. So much so that some volunteered thousands of years ago to come down and show us the way, show us how things can be, walk without fear, to give unconditional love in all moments. Those beings oftentimes came before their time, before we could understand, before we can have enough light in our heart, in this timeline where the darkness has had its way. For so long, those people, those higher density beings came down as people to try to teach us the way. And they have forever been remembered, some of them, and revered. But just like everything else, the darkness twisted words. The darkness took something so pure and so much made of light and twisted it and distorted it to continue its game of separation, which promotes shame, guilt, anger, resentment into the hearts of every human who abide by the words they twisted. I say this because I have received the message that the war above and the war below that has made up a lot of our human experience is now over. The entities above that counsel over planet Earth have deemed some of the activities done by the darkness as not abiding by the laws of the universe. And therefore, higher level beings, and even that, have made sure that this social experiment where entities choose to cut themselves off from oneness, from source, is now over. Imagine a dark spider octopus just had its head cut off. And the tentacles of that said being is now flailing. And this is why things in the past few decades felt like swift, coordinated efforts of darkness, of destruction, of manipulation, now no longer have the same ability to just not be noticed. And so the powers that be, the darker powers that be, that have been extracting human life force for the past few thousand of years, they all spread around the world with these tentacles. But now the head is becoming off. They will flail into non-existence until they fully die off. And so there will be a few more years of this craziness. But I promise you right now, today I felt it in my soul, in my being, that the war is over. Our favorite movies, the Star Wars of the world, Avengers of the world, they feel so amazing. We don't really know why. Because it is the story of the human experience. The Death Star that seems all powerful, that there's no way we can defeat. Somehow we do. Those stories are so powerful to us because that story is so deeply ingrained in our DNA that it's made up the human experience for the past thousands, millions of years. And now, whenever have received help from above, from entities, from beings we can't even understand, to make sure that planet Earth stays this immensely beautiful, glorious organism it's always been. It serves as a major highway point amongst much of space travel. And if it were to have been destroyed, it would have a ripple effect amongst the entire universe, amongst the inconceivable amount of similar planets having very similar experiences. The location of planet Earth is very important. And higher beings above have done everything possible to make sure that it stays intact, while still respecting entities wanting to express themselves in whatever way they want to, allowing this light versus darkness game to continue. But now, darker entities have strayed away from the laws of the universe. Them having a long leash to express themselves has been taken away. So what that means is we have already, before this ended, but will continue to be guided to create a planet Earth that is much more in tune with heaven than it is hell. There has been a plethora of systems, governments, corporations, people that has allowed for the darkness to continue extracting in the way they have. All of those systems are beginning to crumble. All of those systems will be replaced with ones that value collaboration, human first systems of leadership, of how we treat people, will be brought to the forefront. And the entities that were running so much of the world for the past 25,000 years will lose all the power that we gave them and will crumble to nothing. And so I say all this to bring it back to how this affects the real world. And again, if you were drawn to this video, I think you're drawn to it for a reason. This is not for everyone. But as you can already see, the truth is coming to the light. The darkness of the world being exposed. The structures it's put in place to protect itself are dying off. And the literal tools they've utilized to threaten to destroy the world, keep everyone in a fear loop, which puts us in a state of being to have them extract whatever they'd like from us, like our life force. Those things are no longer effective. And we have guides above, like I said, neutralizing their tools, their weapons. So what I mean by this is that all nuclear weapons have been dismantled, have been neutralized. They will not work. Chemtrails, neutralized. Everything that has been a tool, a bargaining chip for the darkness to keep us all in fear, has had its power taken away in ways we don't understand. A nuclear physicist can look at a nuclear bomb and say this thing's going to work perfectly, but I promise you it's been dismantled in ways we cannot understand. It's been neutralized. World War III will not be allowed. Its potential destruction for the world was something that the Galactic Council was something that God's kingdom itself, I don't know what it has made it clear that planet Earth will be keeping alive at all costs. And so anything that's not vibrationally a match for planet Earth will cease to exist. And so the darkness, like I said, is not extinct yet. It still exists, but its true colors are showing. And because, like we said, the head of the entity that runs all of this has been cut off, we will see behavior that imitates tentacles that are flailing into non-existence. The one thing they have left, now that all their legit tools and weapons have been neutralized, is the number one virus amongst the many they've created that has been most effective for them, and that is the virus of fear, the mind virus, fear. And so they will continue to threaten, put into our minds the idea of the entire earth crumbling. But literally all they have left are the microphones, are the media stations. That already been on their way out, but will soon be a thing of the past. The one thing I have left is their messaging. And so I say all this because this removes any feeling of I need to fight. I need to do anything out of fear or force. That you need to suffer. The entity behind that ceases to exist now. There will not be World War III. There will not be any activity that would threaten Mother Gaia. Will not be allowed. And so I say that because the last thing they have on us is the programming they've given to us for the past entirety of our lives. Buying into the fact of scarcity in a world that's always been abundant. Buying into fear when there are a million reasons to love. The fear of the self is an illusion. Buying into any thought that we can't be anything we like. Buying into any thought that, oh, they succeeded, that means less of me. Buying into any thought of division and separation. What this means is the start of a different, decentralized future, where even the idea of countries with borders begin to not make any sense. Buying into the idea that a certain group of people have all the money and get to print the money, get to inflate the money, and utilize it as a tool to manipulate the masses, that idea will begin to crumble, as we're beginning to see. The idea of creating any product, any service that isn't of the highest good of the humans and the environment consuming it, that idea, that concept will begin its dark descent into nothing. It will no longer exist on this planet. This shift will not happen overnight. It will happen over the span of decades. But it's coming. It's now unavoidable. It's inevitable. And we, myself, many others that consider themselves leaders, that understand what's going on, will have the beauty of expediting that experience so that we can alleviate the suffering amongst everyone we come across, because we expose the shame, the guilt, fear, the anger that we all have deeply felt before as something that is not necessary going forward to feel. Not necessary to be a mindset, to be a way of thinking. Just what a time to be alive. It's over. The game's over. And a new game has begun. A new game of building from a place of love, sharing, giving, serving others in all moments, returning back to human's natural state, a childlike state where they freely express their emotions. They know how to feel without hurting themselves or hurting others. Where we wake up every day with excitement and with love because we haven't yet been exposed to scarcity. This is possible and is the way going forward, because what has led to us not having the amount of resources we needed, the amount of anything we ever could have imagined that was the limiting factors of our being, all that will cease to exist because we've always had enough. The earth itself is self-sustaining, and we are part of that earth. It has moments of contraction, but it has moments of expansion. And we will all symbiotically be able to function, survive, and not only survive, but thrive when we all adopt a mindset that this is all a playground and we're here to play, we're here to have fun, we're here to enjoy ourselves, enjoy each other, and realize that we are all gods in our own light. That in the most loving way possible reigned and continue to reign over planet Earth. from a place of connectedness and oneness. We are returning to that. It is beginning. And before that, in the past, just having it be an incredible place to hopefully one day get to, it is now inevitable. The war of a lifetime, not a lifetime, but the war of what feels like the universe in ways we cannot even fathom, is now over. The next step is to be grateful for even that of which we do not know, to love, and in all moments choose our highest excitement, like a kid again, and live with an immense level of integrity, love, joy, hope, laughter, just like humans were meant to before the darkness came and messed shit up. The universe has always been and will always be forever in your favor. Those who have gone on their spiritual path or learn about manifestation would all say the same thing. The universe has always, it will always work in our favor. It just takes us believing that is possible. And the darkness programmed within us to all think small, to all adopt the victim mindset. That within itself is the darkness that allows for it to feed off of us. But now that it no longer exists, we can wake up every day and understand this place is more of a heaven than the day before. That there are infinite possibilities and you literally create your life. Whatever you want, whatever your desire is, you can and will have it. And you'll only feel those desires if they're aligned with you. The future not only looks bright, but it will be bright. It is bright. I'm just so grateful that I was given the opportunity to experience this, feel this a few months, years before others. To be in this and to lead us closer to that amongst many other leaders. As we return to our natural state of being. I love you all. It's time to awaken.